Welcome back everyone to the channel. How are you all doing today? We are back with Season 2 of My Drive Episode 3 round here at Portimao. If you have been enjoying these videos, then please smash that like and subscribe button. It gives, lets me know that I'm doing a good job, lets me know that people are enjoying it, so I can keep up the great content for all of you. Also, if you've not seen on TikTok, I've created like a little shorts, much like the shorts on YouTube that go up. Some TikToks over there at pickles99 _ my drive. So go ahead and check that out. It's been great to see all the love and support on these videos. And we're back again with another one. Obviously we had two amazing opening rounds in Italy. Our team's home country. We had a chaotic 90-minute race around Imola, followed by a short and fast sprint round Monza. And not to give too many spoilers away, if you've not seen them, go check them out and then come back to this video. But to give a little bit of spoiler now, we obviously got that amazing last lap overtake on Will Stevens to get second place in Imola, and then by some miracle of doing a one-stop strategy compared to the AI drivers doing a two-stop strategy, we managed to win the Monza sprint, and that has left us in a great place in the championship. We're currently leading the Drivers' Championship. Lamborghini and iLinks are in second in the Teams and Manufacturers' Championship. Ferrari, obviously having two cars in the manufacturers, two cars in the teams, 3 cars in the manufacturers. They've been quite fortunate in getting good results, and they currently lead the Drivers' Championship. But it's all new. Here today, anything is possible. We are starting 4th in this random grid order around the roller coaster of a track, which is Portimao. We have Kevin van der Linde in the Art Car BMW starting on pole position on the right hand side as the cars line up on the long run down to the grid. Feels like you're sitting waiting to go for an age here. But following van der Linde, we have Chatan in the Alpine. Alpine's been very strong recently in this Season 2 of My Drive, and then we have Buemi in 3rd, ourselves in 4th, Van Thor 5th, Van Dorn 6th, Kubitz in 7th, Bennett in the Isotta Francini in 8th, our teammate Bortoletti in 9th, and Kevin Estre, the first of the Porsches, down in 10th position, rounding off the top 10. But we have another sprint for you here today. We're going to stick behind Chatan as we make the long crawl down to the start-finish line. Just feels like we're waiting an age here, ready to go. Ready to get underway. But any minute now, we will be going. And we're just waiting and waiting and waiting. And finally, we are away and it's green round Portimao for the 45-minute sprint. And we get a good run down towards turn 1, although we've been pitched off by the Peugeot of Van Dorn, and into the barrier we go. Not the way we want to start our race here. Even before turn 1 getting hit there on the right-hand corner. There's carnage in the GT3 field as there's just cars everywhere spinning off track, causing a right little blockage there. We're going to try and make our way back up the grid here if we can. We're overtaking the second of the Peugeots of Muller there, trying to go down the inside, but he just cuts us off again. We get hit again. The Peugeot's really not liking us in this season. Obviously, in Imola we got taken out by one of them down towards the end of the lap, and here we've had contact with both Peugeots in the first 5 corners of the race. I got onto an onboard of us here in our beautiful Lamborghini. It seemed to be gelling with it quite well so far, and you can just see on board all these undulations. There's the Ferrari which dive out the way of, almost collecting the back of, and that is Pierre Guidi there, I believe, in the Ferrari. But we've overtaken him up into 19th place, and what a chaotic first lap. We've really got really in a bit of a tough situation here. We've got tyres that have been flat spotted and are all horrible to drive, lots of vibrations. But we're in a sprint race. We don't really want to make a pit stop because there's not a lot of time to gain back that time. So we're just going to see what we can do, see if we can manage these tyres to the pit stops. I believe there's a little bit of weather in the air, potentially later on in this race. We will just have to wait. First running in the wet in this Lamborghini, and with me driving this career mode in VR as well. So it'll be interesting to see how we fare in those conditions, but we get a good run through turn 3. A little bit wide there. You see our car bouncing all over the place. We've mentioned this a few times, but I feel like the Lamborghini is... Pierre Guidi looks for a move down the inside, tries to sell us the dummy, but it doesn't quite work. Sorry, I interrupt myself there. We've been noticing that the car's quite stiff, quite bouncy. Doesn't seem to absorb much of the bumps and curbs as well as perhaps some of the other cars. And with tracks like Spa and Le Mans coming up, it'll be important to get that ride fixed for those races, because it could be, well, put a big damper on some of those races and some of our results there. Portimao, absolutely beautiful track in the Algarve in Portugal. So much elevation, you really do feel like you're on a little roller coaster around here. But what you see, we're getting kind of caught up here behind the back of Muller and Pierre Guidi, who seems to have even more pace than us. The Ferraris this season seem to have really good pace. Right on the back of us and through the last corner, he gets a brilliant run, looks down towards the inside. Muller is going to cover the inside. We're going to try and sit in stream of the Peugeot on the run down towards turn 1. Can we keep the position? We're gaining and gaining on that gorgeous livery Peugeot, but Pierre Guidi is up into 19th place, but he gives us a little brake check there and then squeezes us against the curbs. So the AI are being really aggressive around here, but we managed to retain that position. You can see on our front left of our nose, we've got quite a bit of damage there, so we'll be sure for a bit of a pit stop when we finally reach them. Pierre Guidi almost taken us out again there. So the Ferrari 51 really impatient to get past, which is understandable. He's probably got a lot more pace than us at the moment, but bashing us off the track isn't the way to get past us. But at the front of the field, Van der Linde has retained the lead, with Buemi getting past Chatan and Kubica having an excellent run up to 5th, and our teammate replaced us in the top 10, being in 6th place. Bennett still at the moment in the Isotta Fraschini in 8th position, so it'll be interesting to see how long he can keep that car up there. It's obviously probably one of the slowest cars on the hypercar field, so any points that they get will be great appreciated. But again, we're going to try and get a good one. We've just gone off the track there, trying to use as much of the track as we can. Probably too much of the track there. Pierre Guidi can't quite get one as he did the previous lap, although his drive down the straight line speed Ferrari is immense, but he can't quite make the move, and we stay in 19th place. So we're going to look for a move on Muller here. Can we dive it down the inside of the start of the slow section? We just managed to dive it down the inside, a little bit of there, but we make it down the inside of turn 3 and up through turn 4. We are up into 18th place. So even with these flat spotted tyres from the start of the race, we're still managing to make moves. Still seem to have a little bit of pace, although we've gone really deep there. And is that going to let Muller get back past us? He's going to look potentially inside, outside, switching his way. No, he's just going to have to stay behind us. And we're going to look backwards at Pierre Guidi and Muller having this battle. Pierre Guidi almost collided into the back there of the newly winged Peugeot. So I don't think it will be long before the Ferrari is past French rivals. But we now look forward with Matt Campbell in the last of the Penske Porsches here ahead of us. About 3 seconds ahead, so we're going to have to see if we can make up any ground. From what I can remember in this race, I was really struggling with tyres in this first stint. So I think as long as we try, well, the goal is basically try to lose as little time as possible. And I think behind us, the Ferrari is going to look to make a move. We're outside of the Peugeot. Is he going to be able to brake late enough and get the move done? He brake turns in, the Peugeot gives him room, and Pierre Guidi is up past Muller into place, and he'll be looking to, well, moving his focus back onto us to try and get up into P18 and recover from the spin in this race. Piegui seems to have had quite a few mishaps so far in Season 2. If we look at, teammate Fuoco is up in 14th at the moment. Fuoco won the first round in Imola, had some contact with us through Ascari round Monza, but they seem to have great pace. Toyotas, it seems to be a right mix, which I'm glad about. You've got Ferrari, Toyotas, Alpines, BMWs, all seeming to have very good pace and be very competitive with each other. And like we saw in Monza last week, it'll be interesting to see how the fuel strategies play out. Obviously, we saw Toyota and Alpine and ourselves going slightly longer than some of the other teams, so it'll be interesting to see if they can repeat that here. Unsure if it's going to be a one-stop, two-stop. My mind would probably say more towards stop. Obviously, Monza was a two-stop for the AI, but I think that's probably just because of the higher full throttle nature of Monza. Whereas here at Portimao, a lot more corners, a lot more, you're only on full throttle, like down the straights, which there aren't many of. So it'll be interesting to see if people can go a few laps. We're closing up onto the back of Matt Campbell, and so we've hit the curb there wrong, and it's on the car. We've spun and put even more flat spots onto our tyres, so we're really not having a good overage of this race. Don't know whether that spin was just took a bit too much curb, maybe the curb with the tyres just unsettled us a bit too much, causing us to have another spin, so that's really not what we wanted. So we're now a bit seconds off the back of Muller, and we're going to have to try and re-overtake the Peugeot, re-overtake the Ferrari. The Ferrari's flying here at the moment. It's on the back of Campbell any moment now, and while we kind of regain our place in this race, or refooting in this race, we're going to look up the field, see what battles are occurring. There seems to be a little three battle here between the Jota Porsche of Will Stevens, the number 7 Toyota Mike Conway, and our championship Fuoco in the Ferrari. On a little side note, if you guys have seen the new Jota for this year, obviously Jota switching from Porsche to Cadillac this year, the new gold Jota Cadillac looks absolutely incredible there. It's phenomenal. But what also looks incredible is this move that Buemi looks to be putting on. Even say a little bit of contact through the last corner we saw there. Surprised that that didn't spin there. He's going to keep it down the inside, push Conway wide. Can Conway get a good switch back here? Not quite, but it slows him up. Can Fuoco behind dive it down the inside? He doesn't. He's just going to stick behind him for now, and he loses some time. And Rasmussen, Steve's teammate, is right behind him, looking for a move. Can Conway down into the braking zone of turn 6, I believe this is, make a move? No, he can't. He's just going to have to stick behind the Peugeot for now. Not the Peugeot, the Porsche, sorry. Speaking of bottlenecks, Bennett down to 10th position. I think I believe he started in 8th this race. He's lost Fraschini, like one of the slower cars on the grid. So he's really getting held up, or really holding everyone up. He's got the Proton Competition Porsche of Neil Jarni behind him. By Conway, who's managed to get past Conway, and Fuoco have managed to get past Stevens there. Unfortunately, missed that overtake. We'll stick on Conway for now, see if he can get past Jarni here. Well, I say we're on Conway, we're on Fuoco at the moment. Using the onboard cameras here on Le Mans Ultimate. If you're enjoying, this more of a switch to sort of a broadcast style and to, using these onboard cameras, and please let me know. We've got Conway looking for a move. He's going to sit in the slipstream of Neil Jarni. Can he get past him? It looks like he can, and can... Oh, he dives it down to the inside. Is that the right move? Lots of contact. There's so much contact. Launching it over the curbs. Can he stick it down? Keep his car stable. Bashing Jarni off the track. Jarni's in the 99 Proton. He's going to look around the outside. Doesn't quite hit. We've got the Jota, I believe, is making it up back past Fuoco there, as the Toyota and Porsche kind of held each other up there. Chaos everywhere we look in this race. It seems like I'm not the only one getting into lots of incidences. By the time we come round to have some pit stops, I imagine there's going to be lots of people needing to take quite long to repair their car. Conway being quite lucky here, I think, managing to get past the slower cars. You see Fuoco there trying some different lines, trying to gain a bit more time on the Porsche. Looks like Johnny might have some slight issue here. He seems to be quite slow compared to the sister Porsche behind him. So we'll be looking, we'll keep on Will Stevens here, see if he can get a good run through the final corner. A very strange final corner. You have this like massive hump in the middle of it. You see the Toyota of Mike Conway going round outside of Bennett, and we've got Fuoco trying to dive down the inside of Will Stevens. Can he pull off the move? A little bit of contact there. Going to shuffle Fuoco back and put him into the danger zone of Earl Bamber. I think he's just going to be safe there, but very difficult to make overtakes around here. It seems like lots of contact. That final corner, very difficult, not flat. Very tough on the tyres, especially on the outside left-hand side tyres. And this tyre, such a high tyre wear track isn't helping us with our severely damaged tyres. We're currently 17 seconds off the back of Muller, right back of the pack, really struggling. And that weather that I mentioned, you can see the skies are getting darker and darker, so it looks like we might be on the cusp of some rain here soon. And we should also be on the cusp of some pit stops soon, some GT3 traffic up ahead, which is going to add another layer of complexion into this race. We've got Mike Conway here trying to get past the Corvette. Both him and Bennett getting caught up there. It's going to lead to some contact behind with the Porsches. I've gone the wrong way there on the camera. We want to stick onto this. What's that? Six-way battle for the lead. We've got Conway, Bennett, Gianni, Fuoco, Bamber, Stevens, all can get past each other. Fuoco's going to dive down the inside. Bennett gets held up there, and Conway goes around the outside. Fuoco's inside off Neil Gianni. Can he make it down the inside off Bennett as well? He looks to dive down the inside, and he gets squeezed, bumps over the curbs, and gets the move done up into 11th position now. Can the Porsches follow him through behind? They're going to come down into the braking zone. Bennett dives down the inside of the BMW GT3 car. Bamber up past Neil Gianni there. Can he get a good exit, good run on the Isotta Fischini? It looks like he might just be able to. And he just has to stick behind him for now. What a crazy sequence of corners. Obviously you kind of want to overtake the GT3 cars on the straight, and just there I just noticed there's some window wipers going, and I think that means it's starting to rain, which is going to lay just an even another layer of excitement, and even another layer. Again, God, I need to work on my commentating skills because there's just so much going on. I just can't keep up with it. Yeah, the rain is going to add another layer of complexion into this race. Fuoco, in all that chaos, just get up past Mike Conway, and is now in 10th position. So great redrive from the Ferrari there. So he just bumps into the back of the other Ferrari, or the GT3 Ferrari, not doing him any favours there. Kubica has had an absolute barnstorming lap, and has got up into the lead from, what's it, about 6th as he started. So the traffic having causing absolute havoc at the front of the. We are going to drop back for a second to focus on ourselves, because we have to catch up through the traffic Excuse me there. So here we go. You can see the rain on our car. So it's raining quite heavily. We'll cut to an onboard camera to see the rain on the windscreen. Yes. So it's really raining here. I imagine in a few laps time, when it's time for a pit stop, we were going to have to pit for wet tyres. We've managed to make quite a bit of time here. We're now up onto the back of Campbell. Weaving our way through the traffic. See our headlights flashing there. Can we make a move on Campbell? We're going to look down the inside. He gets caught up there behind the Ferrari. We managed to dive it down the inside of him and up into 19th place finally. Squirming all over the place as we put the power down. And we put a car between us with the Ferrari GT3 there. And finally, for the first time in quite a while, we are up from last place. We've got the Peugeot ahead of us of Nico Muller. He's going to get caught up behind some traffic. Can we dive it down the inside? We're going to get hit there, run across the runoff. Not ideal what we wanted there, bouncing all over the place. And Campbell is then going to hit into the back of us as well as he comes steaming through the final corner. What can Campbell do? Is he going to sit in the slipstream and overtake us? Looks like he's just a little bit too far behind. But it's really a war of attrition here. Everyone getting caught up in instances. We get caught up there behind the BMW. Not what we wanted to happen in one of the fastest sections of the track. Dive it down the inside. And for a second there we were worrying that Campbell might get back past us. But he couldn't quite follow us through the GT3 traffic there. We now set our sights on the Peugeot of Nico Muller as we look to go around the outside of the Inception. McLaren can't quite pull it off and just have to stick behind him for now. Flashing our lights because we're going to want to get past him before the start of Sector 2. For this really tight and twisty, slow, difficult traction zone area of the track. We now dive down the hill, rise back up over the crest. And the Peugeot and Porsche of Oliver Rasmussen are having a right old battle there. Rasmussen goes around the outside of the Corvette. The Peugeot can't quite follow him. We're going to do an audacious dive down the inside of one of the final corners, and we're up into 18th place. Very ambitious there, using the traffic advantage. We're going to dive down the inside of the Corvette as well, so really aggressive here at the moment. Obviously got the bit between our teeth. Not very happy with how this race has panned out so far. We're going to try and not get caught behind the Ferrari, get a good run onto the start-finish straight. You can see all those water droplets on the cars now. The wipers working away furiously as it starts to get damper and damper. We're currently 20 minutes into this race, a few more laps and we will have made it halfway, meaning no more, or only one pit stop is required. Obviously this track not being quite as high full throttle percentage as Monza means a one stop's more feasible. Also with the rain, perhaps that slowed us down a bit. But we are now onto the back of, what's that, 4 cars? So we've got Rasmussen, or the pair of Jotas in Rasmussen and Will Stevens ahead of us. The Proton competition, Porsche of Neil Jarni is ahead of them, as I think Jarni locked up there a little bit. And then the Zotto Foschini of Bennett. Lost quite a bit of time during this first round of traffic and has dropped down out of the points down into 14th place. Kubica are currently up in the lead with Buemi right behind them. They've got a little buffer to Van der Linde in 3rd position behind them, who has Chatham chasing him down. And then the second BMW of Van Thor right behind them. We've got a Corvette in front of this gaggle that we're in at the moment. How is that going to affect things? Everyone at the front of the field getting at the front of this field getting caught up. And we're going to stick behind, get a good run through the final corner. See our car bouncing as we settle over the curbs. But it looks like everyone was able to make it past him, past the Corvette just fine. Will Stevens looking to be right in the slipstream of Neil Jarni. He dives down the inside, doesn't get the move done, doesn't quite have the confidence on the brakes to get it done up the inside. That shuffles him back into Rasmussen and myself. We're going to look for a move as Stevens goes wide. We dive down the inside of Rasmussen and Will Stevens, and we're up 2 positions. Both Toyota Porsches there being overtaken by ourselves as we slide our way up into 16th position. Not looking for an overtake there, but with Stevens going wide, that kind of upset Rasmussen, and we were able to take full advantage. And so far we're having a good little recovery drive. Obviously we were five or so seconds off the pace, off the back of the pack railing. Now we've made that 5 seconds up and are up into 16th place, looking to make it 15th, past Gianni ahead. We've gone through, I believe, the majority of the traffic for the first time, so should be okay up until the pit stops. And then obviously we'll start to get the second round of traffic as we progress further into this race. But we've spun there as we've tried to get a good exit and overtake Neil Gianni. We're just getting a bit too overconfident there. We've spun it in the slow speed end section of Portimao. Obviously it's wet, very slippy. The engine sat behind us has obviously just taken our momentum, spun us round, and perhaps that is an indication that it's just slightly too wet for dry tyres at the moment, and we are going to pull into the pits. Very difficult pit lane entry here as we see ourselves locking up there. Hopefully we've not got a penalty, but I think we might have just got one. All 4 wheels locked up as we came into the pits. We're going to have a long pit stop here. Obviously lots of repairs from all the damage that we've had throughout the first stint, and a change up to wet tyres. We're just going to make our way back through the field now, looking up, seeing what battles we can find. We've got the 2 Jotas there battling. Neil Gianni still stuck behind Bennett in the Exotic Fischini. Pierre Guidi's had a good little recovery drive from last place up into 13th at the moment. He's right on the back of Bamba. The Ferraris have excellent pace there. Looks to go wide. Can he quite make a switch back? Doesn't look quite like he can quite make a switch back. He's just going to sit behind Bamba for now. We have Kevin Estra in the first of the Porsche Penske's in 11th place. Got a right little battle here between, well, Conway is on the back of Lapierre, who has just been overtaken by Fuoco. Beautiful move around the outside there by the Ferrari driver. Obviously our championship rival at the moment. He has Bortoletti, our teammate, just a second or 2 ahead of him. But Lapierre seems to be struggling here. Is he going to get overtaken by Mike Conway as well? Conway for now is just going to have to stick behind the Alpine. But in these very wet conditions, it's traction is very limited. Lapierre goes into the back of Fuoco there. Is that going to give Lapierre a chance to re-overtake Fuoco? Not quite. There's a Corvette ahead of this group of cars here. So Fuoco looking to make a move on Bortoletti. Is he quite close enough? Not quite. He's just out of reach of our teammate. He's going to have to stick behind him now through the second sector. Lapierre currently still ahead of Conway, but that little kerfuffle they had there has brought Bamba and Pierre Guidi right into their midst as well. We're going to cycle up towards the front of the field. We have Van der Linde being chased down by Chaton here. The leading Alpine having a great race, looking to get up into the podium positions. We've then got Buemi, who is right behind the AF Corsa Ferrari of Kubica. As they come through the final corner here, 20 minutes, well, under 20 minutes left to go in this race. Are they going to make a pit stop on this lap? They are in the pits, diving into the pit lane. Is Kubica, Buemi. Let's see if Van der Linde and Chaton follow them through. Still a little bit off the back of them, about 10 seconds or so. But Van der Linde is in the pits, and he's spun going into the pit lane. He's had an absolute mare there. Chaton has crashed into him, and his teammate of Vanthor has also had an absolutely massive moment there into the pit lane. Driving backwards down the pits. What is he doing? He's crashed into our teammate Bortoletti. It's absolute carnage here in the pit lane. There's a Peugeot, there's Toyota's getting banged all over the place. Carnage there. Bamper manages to scrape through, and he's followed through by Estra. There's a wheel off in the background there of, I think, the Exotic Fraschini. What an absolute disaster there has been there in the pit lane entry. So many cars getting held up. That's going to have a massive implication on this race. As the two BMWs, one of the BMWs is facing backwards. There's Peugeots blocking the pit lane entrance. Obviously, in real life, we would be having safety cars and red flags now. You see us in the background there, obviously having some sort of drive-through penalty, I believe, from the lap before. The Peugeot, or one of the Peugeots, finally gets themselves unstuck. The second Peugeot swings around and hits the fence there, doing lots of damage to that car. The BMW of Van der Linde, who was in third position, he was having such a good race. You see there, he's just missing his main element of his rear wing. He's going to bump into us as we drive past. That wheel goes flying. BMW still stuck there. The GT3 BMW, sorry. So it's been absolute carnage in this pit stop. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to capitalise on any of this because we're still a lap down, having to make that extra pit stop. Buemi and Kubica, well, Buemi's actually managed to jump Kubica in the pit stops, which has been great for the Toyota. Only 17 minutes left now, so hopefully Buemi can keep the lead of these tricky conditions. All these cars will be on wets now, so it'll be very easy to spin it, very easy to crash off. And as we've seen, any more trips into the pit lane could be disastrous. So many cars exiting the pit lane. Just absolute carnage. And the BMW there, Vanford, driving down the pit lane so slowly, so still having issues. But we have Kubica here, 1.7 seconds, or 2 seconds now behind the leader of Buemi. So Toyota having an excellent pit stop there. In all this malarkey with the BMWs, Kevin Estra's gone up to third position, followed by Chatan, Fuoco and Lapierre. Conway, in the sister of the lead cars, is in 7th place, followed very closely by Bamba and our teammate of Bortoletti, who has Pierre Guidi right in his gearbox. So this race has been absolutely thrown on its head. Estra was, P11, P12 before the pit stops, and he's jumped up to third, so great great ability for them to get through that carnage in the pit lane entry. We've got Oliver Rasmussen down in 13th place, being chased by the second of the Porsche Penske's of Matt Campbell, and then the other Jota of Stephen behind. Van Dorn, who took us out down in 16th. Then the two BMWs of Van Thort and Van der Linde still in the pit lane. Obviously, I don't know what issues they're having. Maybe some drive issues, causing issues for other cars in the pit lane. Bennett has DNF'd. Obviously, we saw the wheel flying, and then we have ourselves, unfortunately, down in last position, having an absolute disaster this race. Obviously, all pretty much started from not even turn one, from the start of the race. We've nearly spun there again. Great frustration we're feeling at the moment. We obviously got taken out by the Peugeot right at the start of lap 1, and we're in the pits again. So perhaps another speed through the pit lane. Really struggling here, and we can pretty much say that this race is a write-off for ourselves. If we could retire and continue watching the race, we would do, because we're going to have to weave our way through the cars here. We're last of all the running cars. I think we're about to go up into 19th place here, potentially. But we're a lap down, probably soon to be 2 laps down. Without any safety cars or anything, there's nothing we can do in this race. Only 15 minutes left. Even if there were safety cars, 15 minutes isn't really a lot of time to do stuff. So we're just basically going to use this as a test session. See what we can do in the wet conditions, obviously. In the car, I'm racing in VR, so first time racing in VR in the wet. See how we get on. I think one of the closest battles we have was that one we were just on, right at the moment, of Lapierre and Conway battling over 6th position. Buemi has managed to pull out 2.5-3 second lead over Kubica, and the gap behind them to Estra is still 30 odd seconds. He's got a further 15 seconds back to Chatan, so Estra looking in a good position to bag some big points for Penske Porsche. You can just hear the Alpine struggling for traction. Conway right behind him. Obviously the Toyota here is 4-wheel drive, which will be helping him out in these wet conditions. Only activates over, I think, 190 kph. He looks for a move down the inside, but Lapierre shuts the door on him. And that is Conway still stuck behind the Alpine. You see those yellow lights there flashing on the Toyota, showing that car's about to lock up, and the green lights showing that it's struggling for traction. Having to run down towards the best overtaking point of the track. Can Conway make it past him? Just can't quite, you see the steering wheel moving left to right as he's braking. Such low grip in these conditions. He's just going to have to stick behind him for now. Not many laps left now, probably 7 or 8 maybe. And it's difficult enough to overtake around Portimao. The overtaking chances getting fewer and fewer as the minutes die down. Conway looking for a bit of a wide line over the top of the crest. Does that give him any additional purchase through the traction zone? Not really. Just going to stick behind him, and doesn't look to be any real GT3 traffic, for at least for now, for them. They're just going to have to... Well, Conway will either have to do it on track. Obviously, no real overtaking aids in WEC. No DRS or anything like that. The only difference between these cars is, well, obviously you've got difference in engines, difference in aero packages. Conway getting very loose on the exit there. Has he got a good run down the straight? Lapierre has defended all the way to the inside. Can he go around the outside? He looks for it, brakes late, looks for a move around the outside, but Lapierre just has the speed, has the confidence to keep the position ahead of him in 6th place. And Bamba is not too far behind him. And behind the Cadillac, we have Bortoletti, our teammate, up in 9th position, being chased down by Pierre Guidi. Pierre Guidi, great recovery drive all the way from last, on the first lap, up into the points in 10th place. Obviously a sprint race, so slightly fewer points given when the 10 minutes is up. But every point matters in this championship. Let me know down below if you're enjoying these sprint races. I've been quite enjoying the concept of them. Having the different length race stuff has been quite good. Obviously, in a few rounds' time, we've got the big one of Le Mans, so it'd be important to get a good result there. Obviously, if we've had terrible results here, it's going to be important to get a good win there. We get double the amount of points we would do for a sprint win, so really key to have a good Le Mans weekend. But yeah, let me know if you've been enjoying the sprint races. Even though I've not done anything different to the AI, I feel like there is a sense of urgency that is introduced with these 45-minute races. And obviously I've got the ideas set out for Season 2, and I'll be looking in the next few races or so to start thinking about what Season 3 is going to hold. So let me know if there's anything down below that you want to see. And some of you mentioned having more onboard shots, obviously with the way that I film, or the way that I race during these events. I'm in VR set and I realise VR is not very nice to watch. But perhaps cutting on the onboard cameras on some of these moments is quite good. As we're going to interrupt ourselves, we've got Bortoletti moving all the way to the inside. Can Pierre Guidi look around the outside? It's a drag race down towards turn 1. As the spray clears, can Pierre Guidi make a move around the outside? He's going to try it. He's side by side. Just about gets the power down. It's a drag race down towards turn 3. And Pierre Guidi looks like he's got the move done around the outside. Absolutely phenomenal overtake there by our previous teammate and our current teammate. Really classy move there. And just getting the momentum around the outside. Something that Conway needs to have a look at the screens while he's racing around, see what Pierre Guidi's doing, so that he can try and replicate that on Nicolas Lapierre. But that is Pierre Guidi up into 9th place on the charge now for Bamber, who's about 3 seconds ahead. And then we've got Conway and Lapierre. Conway still stuck behind Lapierre. Needs to try and pull off an incredible move like the Ferrari of Pierre Guidi just did. Still probably about half a lap before any GT3 traffic becomes a factor again. And in these wet conditions, it's going to be even harder to overtake those GT3 cars. Obviously, the hypercars are a lot quicker on the straights, but in the braking zones, the GT3s have ABS. Oh, as you see ourselves there in the Lamborghini spinning, we're having an absolutely dreadful day. We're just going to get out the way of this battle, let the Alpine, Toyota and Cadillac through. We're just having an absolute disaster. Just from lights out, it's just been a disaster, which has been really unfortunate. Obviously, I'd like to focus on myself during these races, but just watching myself dawdle around at the back, clearly making lots of mistakes, isn't the most fun. But I think the action that the AI is providing us is really good. To see ourselves just flying off the track there. Unsure if we've lost control or if we've just gone wide. I think we might have just gone wide. Yeah, there we are behind the Cadillac. Just losing control and just getting way wide at turn 1. Just using this as a test session. No points being awarded to us, unfortunately. But what can we learn going forward, especially in races where we have some wet conditions? Kubica up at the lead of the race. Pulled in to Buemi a little bit, about 1.1, 1.3 seconds. Estra still about half a minute behind. And the gap back to Fuoco is still quite large. We've got Chatan, who's about a second or so behind Fuoco. Here we go, on to Kubica, in fact, who's just lapped Matt Campbell. So him and Buemi are lapped up to 13th place now. Obviously, a lot of that time lost to the people in the bottom 10 was due to the pit stop malarkey with the BMWs. Very strange, unsure why that happened. Still occasional bugs in this game. And I thought they had fixed a lot of the pit stop bugs. I know before I've seen some issues at Le Mans with the LMP2 cars. That was a long while ago. And for the BMWs still to be in the pits. Strange that only they had issues. I wonder perhaps if they might not have had issues, maybe if other cars would have had issues as well. But very strange, it's just thrown a spanner in the works. Nothing we could do about it. Just have to enjoy the chaos that it has ensued. It's brought Estra up into 3rd place. Shook up the top 10. And caused chaos, which is exactly what we want from this chaos. And isn't it typical? We've cut off of the battle between Conway and Lapierre, and then Conway gets past Lapierre. Absolutely typical there. Conway looks like he's got so much more pace than the Alpine. We've got Bamber and Pierre Guidi behind, and I think that is actually us behind Pierre Guidi. Obviously 2 laps down, just trying to learn what is needed in the wet, learn the limits of the car. Doesn't really matter if we spin, doesn't really matter if we crash. We're just finding those limits ready for races later on in the season. But Pierre Guidi looks right on the back of Bamber. Can he use the 4-wheel drive of the Ferrari against the 2-wheel drive of the Cadillac to his advantage? Looks like Lapierre ahead, gone really wide there as he's trying to overtake the Corvette. He's pushed him right back into the path of Bamber. Can Bamber make a move up into 7th position? Looks like for now he's just going to have to stick behind, but that Corvette, the GT3 Corvette, is being a right needle in a thorn in the side of this little battle here for 7th place. Lapierre's lost 2-3 seconds to Conway ahead. Bamba looks like he's got a good run through the penultimate corner. What about through the last corner? He gets caught behind the Corvette, and that lets Pierre Guidi go down the inside. He gets all over the place, Bamba does. He's even losing time to us. We're going to go down the inside. Can Pierre Guidi make a double move? He's going to look to the inside of Lapierre of the Alpine. Can he dive it down the inside? Has he got enough straight line speed? He's going to look. Lapierre's going to have to give him the space side by side. What can he do with see us behind getting caught up between this battle? But Pierre Guidi dives it down the inside at turn 3 and gets the move up into 7th position. What a great recovery drive from the Ferrari there. The Alpine is now going to be overtaken by Bamba as he gets a run down into the hairpin. Under 3 minutes left of this race now, and Bamba is up into 8th position now. So Lapierre just a few laps ago was up in 6th place, losing hand over fist. Bortoletti, our teammate, behind him in 10th. Can he demote the Alpine one more position? Not long left in this race at all. Buemi just holding on to the lead at the moment with 1.5 second advantage, 1.3 second advantage now over Kubica. Fuoco there has spun. We missed what happened there, but Fuoco in the leading factory Ferrari has spun and has tumbled down the grid. Wonder if he got caught up in a battle with a GT3 car there. But that is disaster for our championship rival. Obviously, we're not complaining. If he can have issues, we don't care, because we've obviously had lots of issues in this race. But that has dropped Fuoco right back into the top 10, and now Kubica is right on the back of Sebastian Buemi as they get caught up behind 12th place of Oliver Rasmussen in the Jota Porsche. Can Kubica use this to his advantage? This is going to be the penultimate lap, I believe, so not long to go. Buemi slides all over the place there. Can Kubica look around the outside? He's sliding himself. Can he go for a wider entry? Get a tighter exit? Put the power down? No, he can't quite. They both stuck behind Rasmussen. I'm sure Buemi is shouting on the radio for some blue flags. But they're still stuck behind him. We're going to come on to the final lap in just a second. There's not going to be many more overtaking opportunities for Kubica here. It's all about, can he get a good run through this final corner? Will Buemi get caught up behind Oliver Rasmussen? He looks like he's going a bit wide there. Buemi, can he make it up past Rasmussen? He does get the power down. That four-wheel drive of the Toyota gets him past the Hertz Team Jota Porsche. But I think Kubica's going to be stuck behind him down into turn 1. He's too far back and he's going to be stuck behind him. And that is brilliant for Buemi. He's put a car between him and his nearest challenger. With only 28 seconds to go, this is going to be the final lap. And all Buemi has to do is just keep it on the black stuff, keep it on the straight and narrow, and he should be the winner of the race here. I don't believe there's any more traffic. It's a bit hard to tell on the mini-map. But Kubica is still stuck behind Rasmussen, so it looks like that was the last real overtaking place on the track. So it looks like Buemi is almost home and dry. He's had a fantastic race here at Portimao for the sprint. Just half a lap to go, and he will be our third different winner in 3 races here in Season 2 of My Drive. And what an absolutely chaotic race we've had here. Will there be any last corner shenanigans? Doesn't look like it. Kubica is still stuck behind Rasmussen, and that has given Buemi all the breathing room that he needs. He can just take it nice and easy. Just easy on traction. Don't need to spin the tyres. Don't need to worry about anything. 2 more corners to go now. Obviously, the last corner is very difficult, but he's got enough of a gap to Kubica that it's not going to matter if he gets good traction through the final corner. And Kubica now coming through the final corner is going to come through and win the round 3 at Portimao. The sprint here for Season 2 of My Drive. What a brilliant race by Buemi there in the number 8 Toyota. Well done. Third different race winner of this season out of 3 races. Kubica comes home in second place. Looks like he's going to be followed through by Estra, who's fighting through some traffic at the moment. But the second Toyota of Conway looks to be too far behind. Chatan is in 5th position, followed by Pierre Guidi, who's had an amazing recovery. Although I think Conway's actually had some issues here and has fallen down the grid. The leaderboard on the left-hand side is a bit slow to update sometimes. And Conway might have had a spin or something, and he's down into 6th place. That's promoted Chatan and Pierre Guidi up into 4th and 5th respectively. We are going to follow Bamba through here. Obviously Bamba in 7th position, us being 2 laps down after our disastrous race. You know, not many positives to take from this race. Lots of learning opportunities though. We're going to cut on to Pierre Guidi, who... oh no, we're behind Pierre Guidi. We've got Conway behind us, obviously ahead of us, but we're ahead on track with the lap count. And Neil Jarni looks like he might just come through and score some final points finally for Proton competition. What a race we've had. Absolute disaster for us, but we will not let that take away from how good that race was, especially for the AI. Lots of overtakes, lots of opportunistic overtakes. And this is what the driver standings look like after round 3. So, because of our good fortune in the first 2 races and Furuko having that incident in Monza with us, and then obviously some penalties being applied, so Furuko jumped up the leaderboard a little bit from the final results. We're still retaining the lead of the Drivers' Championship. Pierre Guidi having another consistent race, Kubica jumping up, Buemi finally scoring some points and jumping up massively. Niljani scoring the final points, finally putting a Proton competition on the leaderboard, as well as our teammate finally scoring some points in round 3. Looking at the team's results next, us having a bad result has meant that we've lost more ground to Ferrari. Obviously, Ferrari having the 3 cars. Well, in this instance, they have the 2 cars because they're the factory cars, scoring consistent points, and we are now 10 points behind. Toyota jump up ahead of Alpine into 3rd position. Alpine followed by Jota, Penske Porsche, AF Corsa. The disastrous drive that they had today, BMW RT, scored no points. Cadillac and then Proton competition finally getting on the board with Peugeot and Azotta Fraschini still lacking any points. And finally, we'll look at the manufacturers. Ferrari have a big lead over us in Lamborghini in 2nd. Porsche actually have done pretty well out of the first few rounds. Even though they've not had the pace, they've had good consistency and are up in 3rd position. Toyota making a big jump ahead of Alpine into 4th. And then, of course, Peugeot and Azotta Fraschini still pointless. So that has been round 3 at Portimao, the sprint for Season 2 of My Drive. If you did enjoy, please smash that like button, please subscribe. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. I hope you're enjoying this new Season 2 of My Drive. As I said at the start of the video, go check out my TikTok. It's at pickles99_MyDrives. I'll be looking to do some other things, such as maybe putting the full race on TikTok, and also on YouTube putting some shorter highlights up for those of you who prefer a shorter format video. But that has been round 3 at Portimao. We will see you next time for round 4, round the legendary Spa-Francorchamps. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time.